Y'all know what time it is. It is time for Into His Courts. I am your man, P. Skip, your host. I got my crew with me, T. Mac.
Hola.
Chili Will.
Gracias, amigo.
Listen, Super Bowl. What in the world? What in the world? Listen, man, there's so much to talk about. The controversy. Let's just call it not the Super Bowl. Let's just call it the asterisk.
The asterisk.
Yeah, the asterisk bowl. That's what we'll call it.
Okay,
The asterisk bowl. You know. But let me say this before we get into this. This scripture came to mind was Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. I'm not going to read all of it, but it talks about for everything there is a season and a time for every activity under the heavens. Then it talks about a time to be born, a time to die, a time to build up, and a time to tear down. But what I thought about with all those times, what happens when time's out? Because you look at the whole controversy. First of all, I believe Ray Charles saw that it was a pass interference.
Can you share with us what you're talking about in particular?
Listen, in the NFC game, we had the NFC Championship in which you had a choice between the Chargers and the Saints.
Rams.
I'm sorry, the Rams and the Saints going to the Super Bowl. There was a pass interference that was not called. It was I think it happened within the last 2 minutes of the game, where the receiver for the Saints had the ball thrown to him, and the defender hit him even before the ball got there.
Was it a little bit before the ball got there, or a lot before the ball got there?
Listen.
Was it close? Was it bang bang, or was it?
Man, there was enough time for you to go get a drink, use the bathroom, grab some popcorn, come back, scoot down, get back in your row, in your seat, and then the ball came.
Wow.
And so it was such a blown call. It was such a blown call that it cost possibly. I mean, we don't know what the outcome could have been, but it was definitely a momentum change, a momentum switch. It was definitely a very controversial call that, any other call is, because they didn't make it, it couldn't be reviewed. You couldn't call in New York to say, hey, listen, good call, bad call, what?
Because it was no call.
It was no call.
Right.
But like I said, I personally feel like I saw Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder go, and that was a bad call. They were throwing flags, bro. They were throwing flags. About, are you kidding me? You mean to tell me you didn't see that? It was so bad that Saints fans is trying to sue the NFL, saying that something needs to be done about this. We giving y'all 13, 15, 20,000 a year, and we can't get a legitimate call?
Yeah.
We can't get referees that can see?
My goodness.
Within the purview that the commissioner had, the statute says that he could have ordered a replay of that single play or even the last 2 minutes of the game regulation. Do you think that he made the right decision to just let bygones be bygones and not replay that? Because the lawsuit that was brought by the Saints fans, I think, were 2 days afterwards. It would have been a Tuesday game to suit up because he didn't immediately do it the day of the game. That's question 1A. Question 1B is the game, I think, went to overtime as well. So the Saints have another chance to try to win and still didn't. Or were they too shocked because of the egregious no call to where they were just out of it?
But for the no call, had there been a call, they would have been on the 1 or 2 yard line, first down, goal to go.
Inside the 10. I don't know if they were in that close, but yeah, definitely in a great
First
scoring
down, it would have
position.
been inside the 10, so it would have been first down and goal. And they would have had 4 downs to not score a touchdown. They only needed a field goal.
Right.
So this is the asterisk bowl we watching right now. Because but for that blown call, I don't believe there would have been an overtime.
Okay.
I think it would have either been won or lost in regulation. It would have had to be because they would have been up, and the other team may have came down and scored, and if they would have scored, game over, no overtime. Mm-hmm. And if they didn't score, game over, no overtime. So I think the no call, the phantom call, changed the history of football, the history of sports.
Yeah. Well,
that's how big it was.
Let me ask this question, though. Just, what about, as Christians do, that was God's providence.
The will of the Lord.
That was the will of the Lord.
Turn the other cheek.
Right. That was the will of the Lord that game didn't happen, that the refs didn't make that call. Do you really think God is that interested in football that he would prefer one team over another?
No.
That's a great question.
No, that's a human error.
I would go with that as well. I think that the outcome of that human error induced catastrophe can still be used for the benefit of those who felt aggrieved by it, be it Saints players, organization, fans, season ticket holders, even those that trying to maybe cover the spread and the betting and all this kind of stuff.
Vegas.
Yeah,
folks in Vegas really upset.
Oh man. But I think that is an example of what adversity looks like.
Right.
And how do you bounce back from things that not only in your own estimation you thought were out of order, but have been demonstrably proven, with the preponderance of evidence that was wrong. Right. Do you stay on the mat when you've been wronged, or do you use it in some sort of way to fuel some sort of future achievement for yourself? Which is what I think. I mean, it's tough to have to stomach.
You have no other choice.
But what do?
You have no other choice. I mean, I watched the game. I watched the whole game. And I really didn't have a dog in the hunt.
Right.
But what's fair is fair. And what's right is right. And
agreed.
The New Orleans Saints and the New Orleans Saints fans should be in Atlanta this weekend celebrating their team being in the Super Bowl. I saw it. You saw it. The whole world saw it. But guess what? It's over with. Nothing can be done, and you have to get yourself up off the mat, pull yourself up, and say, you know what? All of those times where I didn't think I was worthy, I didn't think I was supposed to win, when I didn't think I was supposed to receive God's grace, and I did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Right.
That's it.
Yeah. I kind of think of, was it Mayweather in the Olympics? Who was that? Or who was it that missed, that was late, and ended up not being able to box in the Olympics?
Oh, I don't recall.
I'm trying to think who. I don't remember if it was Mayweather or whether it was Sweet Pea. But
Pernell Whitaker.
I don't remember.
Who it was.
But I think you might have been right. I think it was Whitaker, that he just got there late and got disqualified from winning a gold medal. Turned around, he was an amazing champion.
Right.
He could have said, you know what? Boxing ain't going to do me right. I'm going to let this go. I'm going to go see what car selling looks like.
Right.
But he chose that as fuel to say, listen, y'all stole this one. You're not stealing another one from me. Anytime I get in the ring, I'm making everybody believe that I should have got a gold medal, but I'm going to be a champion.
I'm the best boxer in this class. I think he won multiple weight classes.
Right.
In the world. Oh, and by the way,
pound
for pound, I'm the best fighter. And on second thought, going back to our thing about not having a dog in this race with the football game.
Right.
The team that lost was the Saints, so they might have been God's team in some way. He just was trying to. I was trying to tell him, but
So you mean God was
no
up there?
offense, Saints fan. I'm just
Right. So you mean God was up in heaven and go, who that?
Hey man, look. This ain't funny.
right.
This ain't funny. Y'all making fun of this, man. There's some people in New Orleans that been waiting their whole life
It's real serious. And to the on the bounce back piece, that was an excellent example with Pernell Whitaker. But does this give us a glimpse of the place? Ooh, wait. The Bible says, "Thou shalt have, no idols." You should nobody should be higher than God in preeminence in who we appreciate, who we give reverence to. Has sports become an idol? And it's some of the angst that people feel and the high blood pressure because of that bad call in a game. Is that giving us a glimpse into misappropriated priorities?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not even going to say anything but yes.
They call them fans, which is short for fanatic. You're a fanatic about this, and for that individual. I even think about, as far as egregious, think about Joseph. You know how he was in Potiphar's house. His wife claimed that he was trying to sleep with him, and dude ran. He's like, listen, I'm not going to mess this up. I'm working with the top man.
Right.
And I ain't about to sleep with his wife after, he done did all for me.
Right.
And she lied on him. So he could have went, he was thrown into prison. He could have went in there and just like, you know what? This is some mess.
Right.
But what did he do? He stayed connected to God and ended up not only going from Potiphar, but going up higher than him. And ended up being the second in command over the land.
Prime Minister of Egypt.
And so all of us are going to have some
Missed calls.
bad mess happen to missed calls
in life.
Mishaps, some how dare yous, why is this happening to me? All of those things. And, when I had to deal with a bunch of that, all of us had to.
Oh, yeah, that's life.
But God began to deal with me about, listen, you keep asking me why does all this stuff happening to me. You're asking me the wrong questions, son. Stop asking me why and start asking me how. How do I get past it? How do I get over it? How do I get through it?
How do I deal with it?
Right.
Yes.
Because the whys, anybody who's ever prayed to God, you've never got an answer to why. But the Bible says, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God.
Yes,
so that obligates him to answer a how. I'm not asking why this happened, God, but how do I deal with it? How do I get through it? How do I become better because of it? And when you begin to look at these bad calls, mishandlings, whatever, and begin to say, how do I get past it? That changes the game for your life.
Yeah.
It changes the game. And I believe that's what's going to change it for the Saints, considering all that they're going through right now. Or not just the Saints, but New Orleans as a whole and all that they're going through. I believe it really will. They have to look at this like, okay, is this going to stop us, or is this going to be motivation to get us to the next level?
Yeah.
To eliminate any of these close games anymore, we taking y'all out we murdering y'all from the whistle, from the kickoff.
Right. We're not going to put it in someone else's hands. We're going to control our own destiny.
Exactly.
And a lot of people talk about that. Even when you talk about the Super Bowl, the amount of times that Tom Brady has been in the Super Bowl and the amount of times that he has won it and lost it.
Exactly.
It takes a certain amount of intestinal fortitude to say, you know what? I'm going to go back to the gym. I'm going to go back to my diet. I'm going to go back to my film, my playbook. I'm going to go back to my teammates and come back to that dragon and try to slay the dragon. And he and Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots organization have been successful at that. And I say kudos to them.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, they're there so much that I can't even remember when they're not there.
Right.
But they don't always win the Super Bowl. They have lost, 4 Super Bowls? Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're always considered the favorite.
Yeah.
No matter what Super Bowl they go to, if they're in it, they're considered the favorite.
Yeah.
They're definitely contenders, and they're expected. I mean, going back to 2001 when they beat the original, then St. Louis Rams team, the greatest show on turf, Marshall Faulk, Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, etc.
What? You going back there?
Yeah, I'm going back there, Doc. That because I wanted the Rams to win back then. They
Well,
got
they won it the next year?
they got
Or they won
they
it
got
like a
thumped.
couple
I
of
think they
years?
won the year before when they beat Houston.
Oh, they won it the year
Houston
before.
Oilers, yeah.
Okay.
So when they played against them, I think for me, I mean the New England Patriots are a case study in doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
You know, do your job, do it with excellence, and you will more times than not get the desired results. They don't have a lot of fanfare. They interchange players. It's kind of difficult to name a whole lot of players on the team other than Gronk and Brady and Edelman.
Yeah.
That's just about it. And the
Right.
fact that they've been able to pick and pull, rinse and plug folks into a system and have been successful speaks to, you know, discipline, being able to do some things the right way, and a spirit of excellence, you know, no matter what comes your way. A few years back against Atlanta, which I thought was the better team on paper, talent-wise, stat-wise, et cetera, and had them down 28-3 at halftime, New England didn't throw in the towel. That was definitely an adverse situation.
They didn't get selfish.
Didn't get
They
selfish.
didn't finger point.
None of that, man. They believed that they still had a chance to win and messed around and won.
And stayed a team.
And stayed a team. And this year, I think, marks, the third straight year they're in the Super Bowl, which also says whether people like you or not, if you just handle what you're supposed to be doing, your outcome is already predetermined, despite opposition, because they're not everybody's favorite team, but they're still there. And anytime they're playing in the game, whether you're going for them or not, you understand that, you know what, they got a real good chance to win.
They're a symbol of excellence when it comes to sports and competition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they are. Their organization, how it's ran, what they do. You can give a lot of credit to the owner, Mr. Kraft, and his family, because when I was a kid, New England was the worst team in the NFL.
Scrubs.
They was the worst team in the NFL. You
At
probably
best.
couldn't buy a New England Patriots hat, shirt, jersey,
Nothing.
anything. So, and after the
Not,
Kraft
not
family,
even in the arena.
yeah. Now, I mean,
Not
when
even
the
in
Kraft,
their
when the
arena.
Kraft family took over, they changed and they made it something that they wanted to perfect. Bill Belichick coming in, you have to give him a lot of credit. People talk about what was the Garoppolo? What was the quarterback?
Garoppolo.
Garoppolo. He came in when Brady got hurt, and they kept going, which let me know that, you know what, Brady has benefited from the system and from Belichick's teaching and what he's done, because when he left and the other guy came in, they kept winning. And matter of fact, Brady took over for Bledsoe, who was winning before Brady got there.
Right.
So it's a lot to be said about the organization, the system, the coaching, and the symbol of perfection that the New England Patriots represent. Now, let me go on record as saying I am not a New England Patriot fan, but I am a fan of systems, and I'm a fan of people trying to get it perfect.
Right.
I'm a fan of that. So
And
I
winners.
give them big respect for what they're doing.
Now, let me ask a question. Can we parallel New England with the Bulls back in the day when Mike was there? Was Mike hated as much as Brady is? Because, you know, Brady really has been doing it on a high level and doing it well. But then you have Mike, who was doing it, loved, but it seems like Brady and the Bulls were loved. But what's up with this? Patriots are doing it on that same high level, but are hated. What do you think the difference is?
It's regional hate. It's regional hate. I've actually gone to a New England Patriots game in New England at their stadium. I've spent time there. I've done that. One of my good friends who's works for the Boston Celtics and the New England Patriots, I went out to visit him, and he took me to the game. And the amount of love that they have out in their area, in their region, we wouldn't understand here.
Yeah.
But it's the same type of love we have for the Packers. And everybody ain't feeling the Packers like that.
Yeah.
But and then you talked about Mike and the Bulls. I would say this, the difference in Mike and the Bulls, because you could add the triangle offense to that, and
Right,
Phil
Lakers,
Jackson
right.
and all that stuff. But I think Mike was more the reason for the Bulls' success than Phil Jackson and the system is. And the reason why I say that, when Bledsoe was doing it and he left, then Tom Brady did it. And then when he was hurt, Garoppolo, whatever his name, he did it.
Yeah.
I tell you this now, when Jordan left, they ain't win.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think Jordan was more responsible individually for the success of the Bulls than it was the system.
Yeah, I would have to agree with some of that. The one asterisk I would put by that is I think when Mike finally left in 1998, after the second three-peat, I think that team that he left did go to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to maybe the Knicks or somebody. So they still won 55 games the year he left the second time. So there was something to be said about the system. But I do agree that the Bulls' love that they were received, maybe not on a unanimous level, but more so I think maybe than New England, outside of even their region, had to do with Michael Jordan being a singular force of nature. Right. And all of what he brought to the game. I think he was transformative because up until that time, big man or having a dominant center was the way the NBA built their teams. Right. And he was the first guy that just happened to be the best player on the team who happened to not be a center that could lead a team, that was the focal point of a team and could dominate a game, both ends of the floor. So I think that Mike, given just the force of who he was, how he revolutionized the game, his sneakers, Space Jam, all of that, I think it also coincided with a difference in how celebrity was distributed across the world with regards to multimedia channels and all these types of things. So he himself was a singular force of nature coupled with coming in culture, pop culture, at a time where there was a shift in celebrity promotion and distribution that he happened to be a beneficiary of, much of which he self-generated just because he was just who he was. And I think that those things taken in tandem give the Bulls their, fandom that was on a more intense, more positive, generally speaking, nature than maybe what New England has received, despite their similar success.
Well, this All-Star game, the players will be wearing Michael Jordan uniforms.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They have the Jordan logo on the All-Star jerseys.
See, okay.
So that gives you an idea. And Michael Jordan made way more money selling tennis shoes than he did playing basketball.
And paraphernalia.
Because people still buying his brand to this day, and he ain't played in over 20 years.
Right.
That's
impact.
Right. But let me ask this question, though, because we said it was more Mike than the system or the coach. But Phil took that same system to L.A. And won 6 more.
Right.
So is it, which says was it the system or was it just Mike? Because, you could say Kobe was Jordan, a poor man's Jordan or Jordan-ish. But how do you look at that? Was it the system? Or was it just the player?
The system is a great system. The triangle.
It didn't work in New York, though.
It didn't work in New York because you didn't have Jordan or or
Kobe or Shaq.
I mean, it's some things that goes into it. Is a great system, and the system is very important. But you have to have that special athlete, that special player, that makes it work. Even with Tom Brady, none of us sit back here and look at Tom Brady as a super athlete. We don't see him as that. Matter of fact, I think that the key to it is make him have to get out the pocket, and that's how you can control him. But that's why they throw those quick passes and those slants, because they know he can't. That ain't his thing.
He's limited athletically.
He's got an amazing offensive line.
But the man dropped dimes. Some of the passes that he throw, you couldn't walk down there and hand it to the guy better than he threw it.
Right.
So those type of things take special athletes. So systems are important, but just systems themselves can't get it done. You need talent.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I think that to that last point about Brady, and despite being limited athletically, being able to throw the passes in that short, quick pass, quick slant, short drop back piece, he throws them with pinpoint precision, which I think for an individual, when they are trying to live their life in the best possible way, they don't have to say, well, hey, I'm not 6'5" like Pastor Skip. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't have all the gear and access and relationships that a Will Wade has. You don't have to determine your value or how far you can go based on attributes that somebody else has that you don't have.
Amen.
You just can maximize whatever you have, however limited, quote unquote, it seems or not. If you can just master what you do have, that puts you on a great road to ultimately being able to fulfill your own personal destiny.
Yes.
It's always important to be able to rock yours.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Whatever I have, I remember in the Bible when God was looking for Moses to deliver the children of Israel out of Egypt. What did he ask him? What's in your hand?
What's in your hand?
What do you got I can work with?
Yeah.
He said, pick up that stick.
That stick you got in
I
your
got this
hand.
stick. Okay, great. I'm going to turn that into a snake. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff with just that stick. That stick that you normally use to lead sheep, you're going to lead my people with. Which tells me again, whatever you have, if you just say, okay, God, this is what I have, what can we do with it? What can we do with it? And I believe that's the difference between an average player and an amazing player, and say, okay, I can leap. I got a jump shot. I can play some defense. But okay, God, what can we do with this that can change the world? That's what I believe God did with Mike. That's what I believe God is doing with Tom Brady. That's what I believe he's doing with LeBron. All these amazing players, I believe, looked and said, okay, I know people with better jump shots than me, but what can we do with it?
Right.
Well, let me just, because we're getting towards the end of the show, and that just touched, what you just said just touched me in a way that made me want to say this. This is the 100th birthday of Jackie Robinson.
Wow.
Jackie Robinson
Wow.
would have been 100 years old this time. And I think he may have had the greatest and the biggest impact on the transformation of sports in the history of the world.
No doubt.
And I just wanted to give that shout out to Jackie Robinson. It goes back to, at the time, he wasn't the best player.
No.
There were many people who was better baseball players than him, but he was the right person.
For the right time.
So God gave him that staff, gave him that rod, gave him the ability to be able to be tormented and lead people.
Yes, indeed.
And because of what he sacrificed and what he went through, we're here having a sports talk show
Right.
that's faith-based.
Send your offerings to Willie Wade.
No,
Because he in here preaching.
He is.
But Jackie Robinson
Yeah.
was that angel.
That was a perfect example.
was that
He was the
angel.
most. He parted the Red Sea of racism
He
in
did.
sports
He did.
and was able to put African Americans on this global sports stage, and he
Yes.
did it with sacrifice of his life for those coming behind him,
Dignity.
including us.
Grace,
Man, right. Character.
Right.
All of that, man.
happy
Listen,
birthday to
happy
you.
birthday, and thank you so very much. Hey, listen.
And happy Black History Month as well, which kicked off as of yesterday. Go ahead, sir.
Listen. Thank you again for being here. I know it was a great show because I was here. I heard it. But tune in. Do me a favor. Tune in next week, right here, same bad time, 7 o'clock, on your radio station, Joy 1340. God bless you. Have an amazing week.
Amen.
Bam.
Bam.